What's up, Stevie boy? How's it going? Stevie boy. Hopefully you're doing well. Well, let's try this one again. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? You mean the chief of police? Have been concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Okay, so I had to deny it until he actually presented that it was actually relevant to the case. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lie was her sister, that's when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Daw convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I had two pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. Two pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jaw fragment? I had the most legible part of Never's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what do you say? What's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Ha 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 ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cover it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it was a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what'd you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you did not have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. First off, do I present the book? Mr. Edwards, your opinion, please. I think Wright's humor has improved at the expense of his defense. Okay, I thought we'd bring up the book because it was not time, but I guess I have to bring up the book afterwards. Oh, shoot. Hit A. I hit A too fast. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes, at least you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean? It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, you're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Wright had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on this. Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever fingerprints belong to, it must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom the fingerprints belong to... Emma Skye! What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true, that tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Skye! You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like you really didn't? Miss Skye, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it's over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you gonna tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Oh, it's fun watching you screw 'em, Righto. This piece of evidence does indeed seem to contradict something. Your outward appearance... Come on! It wasn't whatchamacallit before. Claws were cut from his vest after he died, then something's definitely not right about it. If you'd like to tell him back now, if you're the only one who can end this. I thought it was the book because the thing was not actually presented as evidence and whatnot. So what, the blade? It's either this blade or this blade. No, it wasn't this one either. Alright, what am I doing wrong then? Piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Nope. God dang it. One of these annoying ones right now. What piece of evidence does it want me to actually use? Come on, blah 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 blah. Oh, shoot! There's blood on this, but there's no blood on the thing. Is that it? And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all that blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured, blood pouring out to his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth! Wait! There's no blood on it! Ugh! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense! Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He was most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted to only moments ago. That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's chest. Ironic, isn't it? Though the very act of creating insurance, or through the act of making insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. It's finally all over. Oh, that was close right now. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth, it's illegal evidence. Now I bring up the book. Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, G. Oh, your old Wright here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Rhino? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair! Ha ha ha! Oh, did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, true. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright. It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not. I admit I refused to present it at one point. So the evidence is illegal. Not at all, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Ushy, don't listen to his lies! He is nothing but a coward. You can't actually There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Or you refuse to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book, the second rule of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at that time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take a look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall, when was this picture presented? That was only a few moments ago! No... He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes! Oh. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the Chief of Police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who it could be. Damon Gant! The killer was you! I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, and yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate that case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convicted Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right! If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm gonna hand this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up the SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would only lead to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worried so much about the floor I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on the Detective Goodman's locker, a Gumshoe's locker. Used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You made a lot more than us detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecutor's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So, you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jaw fragments and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I gotta hand it to them! They did their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring him down once you try and go at it alone. But he's not alone. He has Gumshoe by his side. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Ha ha ha! Sorry, old friend! I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for the memories, though. Ha! Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright over here, and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. Ha! The melodious sound of a new generation, I think is what he said, because I couldn't read fast enough. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky. You no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell you everything. All that I've done those past 2 years, from the time I helped Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your troubles. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Sky. And to you, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over those past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it has been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet... you rose above all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it! I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-explanation is in order for all of us. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder, however. Although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for those crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of those heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on for far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. Woo! Thought this trial would never end. That is all. This court is adjourned. February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court Defense Lobby number 2. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, it's not that. Just now, after the trial ended. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Oh, but I didn't have anything, pals! You have the worst timing, Gumshoe. Oh! I guess I am. I'll come back later. Gumshoe, get back here! What is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective one all around while on duty. And on top of it, you called me here? See happier places at funerals. Hey, line up, pal. I'm only kidding. Oh. Are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Hey! Lana! Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in this mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself. But I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me! No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis. I am such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But, sis, you don't have to apologize! I'm happy now! You're happy? Of course! You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma. Aww. The Kodak moment. Get that bear out of here. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find our way back to our rightful place. And it's from there that we can move on towards a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt watching those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. He looks so angry. Where was he hiding? Behind the plant? I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone says, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I didn't even trust myself I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals! I can feel it. You and me! We're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try and do it alone. His laughing fit is still making me lightheaded. Goodness gracious. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. I'm scared. But I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth... Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull someone like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Kalmar, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said, in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? Yeah. What's this, a pub quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show what Lunda's talking about! Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edward nor I could have been able to find out on our own? Ah! I honestly have no clue. Something that neither Edwards nor I would have been able to find on our own. List? That's the picture I drew. A counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we couldn't have been able to completely restore him his picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth? If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth! What will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened... Wait, what? You can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, there's a little something for you. Scientific investigation! It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will! And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. Aww. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go tricking off yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? It's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But... I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had a private call in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Ah, believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Uh-huh. Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What, you think I can afford to go forward it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Thank you, Mr. Wright, you're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. Objection! Okay, cool. So I want to say this is the final trial, right? This was the final one in the entire game, unless there's another one. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe. I hope she's pleased to study under a top corner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days in the prosecutor's office. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Aww, she's gonna become a scientific investigator. Okay, that one was fun. A bit annoying at parts, like very annoying in certain spots, like having to talk to the chief of police, not the chief, but the guy in the back here. Yikes. I thought it was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yeah, that's what they said. Just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. So Wright was right. If they dock his pay anymore, he's gonna pay to have to go to work. But yeah, some parts about this I was not the happiest with. I definitely got lost, probably more times here than I did in the SL9. Oh, sorry, DL6. But Gant was a fun one. I thought it was gonna be more about this guy, though. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and to take care of things. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard! My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm gonna make detective. Yes, sir! I can be just like Dick Gumshoe! I don't know if you want to be him. You're probably getting more money than he is right now. But if you want your own Edgeworth, then that would be, respectable. I just feel sorry for whoever your, Edgeworth would be. I'm pretty sure it'd be the bald guy from the beginning of the game. The Blue Badger. Kinda creepy looking, I will not lie. Also, I don't think he should have the tape onto his head. Oh, no! He fell over! Oh, that's hilariously tragic. Oh, Gumshoe's probably devastated. What is this? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch? But still managed to sneak it into me. She seems to be one of the boyfriends. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her thing. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? I can try. Hopefully Minkins will take care of them as well. After all, he's the one that's there now. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. The farewell gift, I put a new menu on the meal. Blah 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 blah. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. It'll be a little bit difficult to do. I'm waiting for there to be an extra trial. That's kind of what I'm fearing right now, is that I'm gonna get through all this, and it's gonna be like, good job, you beat all 5 trials, now deal with the 6th. And I'm just gonna be like, no. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Leaf? Anyways, he said he'd been doing something or another for how many years? Anyways, I've got another trial to get to, so I better be... oh no! Forgot my gavel! Sorry, I gotta go. Yeah, you need that thing to go, ORDER! ORDER! Hey! Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Maya! Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objections. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. Oh, it was nice to see Maya again. Too bad she didn't show up for the actual trial. Like, even if she was just like a background character. Like in the jury or whatnot. That would have been nice. Oh. It's been too long since I touched my controller. The game decided to go into dark mode. Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. What's going on? Good question, I don't know. Well, if this is the end, I'm happy about it. I don't know if I'll get to the next game anytime soon, but if we have another trial, then obviously I'm gonna get back into it. Especially since I did, Fusion yesterday. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Aw. I was gonna say, there's gonna be a picture in it. I love the little duck. That's just adorable. Aww. That's a very nice photo. But is that the end? It is! Okay. That's the end. Well. I guess the next time I come back... If/when I come back to Phoenix Wright, it's gonna be Justice for All. Yeah, wow. Well, alright then. I'm a little upset. It's kinda over. Someone kept telling me this game was gonna be much longer than it was. It kinda said at one point it was only halfway, which I guess was wrong. Oh well. Well, until the next time we go into Phoenix Wright, this is the end of that.